You have this opportunity of a lifetime. It means absolutely nothing if you don't take advantage of it in the lifetime of this opportunity.
I got a saying that when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it. See, it's time now. If you want to make this your decade, you've got to start saying yes to your life. You've got to start saying yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future, yes to your potential, as opposed to saying no.
When you die, die on E. Leave no dream left behind, guys. Leave no opportunity left behind. When you leave this earth, accomplish every single thing you can accomplish. Listen to me, you're going to be here one day. But you'll never get here if you give up, if you give in, if you quit. And finally, guys, you gotta want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe.
I'm going to turn this situation around. I'm not going to sit back and moan and cry over what happened and what went wrong and who did what. I'm going to do something about this situation. The other thing is, take full responsibility for your life. Accept where you are and the responsibility that you're going to take yourself where you want to go. Someone said we have two primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. And so all you're looking for are new breakthroughs through practice and practice and practice. You'll get better and better and better. And there's still some things that will happen to you that will catch you on the blind side that you did not anticipate. You'll get knocked down, but you won't be knocked out. And so I say to you, it's possible you can live your dream. If it's becoming a diamond, if it's having more, it's achieving more, it's being a better father, being a better mother, whatever it is, overcoming addiction, changing our society, it's possible you can live your dream. It's necessary that you have a plan of action, that you're resilient, that you stick to, and you work with the system, that you work with people, that you give support, and that you be there for them, that you have the vision and never give up, that you become creative and relentless and keep on coming back again and again and again, and that it's you that you got to take personal responsibility to make it happen, and that it's hard. Easy is not an option. And when life knocked you down, jump back up and say, it's not over until I win.
Forget about your past and make the rest of your life the best of your life.
If every person in this room who was bitter, if there was some sort of way you could see it, you'd be shocked at the people who are contaminated. Contaminated with great potential, but they're contaminated because they have allowed their past to bleed into their present and pollute their future. It is when the things on the outside have contaminated the person on the inside. Don't let life make you change your name. Talk about the danger of giving up too soon. Making bad decisions, trading, bartering off, giving up people, giving up relationships, giving up careers, giving up your life. You can't make good decisions when they come from a bitter heart. No matter how strong you are, if you're not careful, a series of losses will affect how you feel about yourself, how you see life, and how you approach the future. That's why even when you lay down at night, you can't rest because your body is still playing repeat of a narrative of things that aren't even there anymore. But your body's reacting because it's still going on in your head. But they say it's for 21 days You can change your story. Saying I'm the head, not the tail. I'm above and not beneath. I'm more than a conqueror. Hallelujah. I'm going to be blessed in the city. I'm blessed in the field. Wherever I go, I will be blessed. I'm saying it over and over again. In the morning, you have it for breakfast. At noon, you have it for lunch. At night, you have it for a midnight snack. I am good looking. I am somebody. I deserve to be loved. I belong in a place of blessing. I'm supposed to be blessed. That's why you just say, I can do all. I've been going through 12 years of hell, 20 years of hell, 30 years of hell, 40 years of doubts, 10 years of insecurity, but I'm gonna break out. You'd be surprised at the people that never analyze what's going on with them. You'd be surprised at the grown people in this room who cannot explain themselves. 50 years old and you still can't explain what's going on with you. You never check you out, and you want somebody else to do the hard work of knowing you rather than you knowing yourself. When life doesn't turn out the way you think it ought to turn out, you look for somebody to blame. It's your fault that I'm in this condition. But the lack of faith affects your attitude when you stop believing.
I dream with my eyes open. I never look forward to sleep. That's why I don't sleep, because I dream with my eyes open. I want to become the things that I see. And if you ain't taking advantage of all of your resources and relationships, and you sitting on your ass being a lazy bum, complaining about everything but still ain't doing shit, listen, watch me go get it.
Let me tell you something. I want you to know you've got something in you that's stronger than that poison you're putting in your body. And you need to be around some people that can help you get in touch with your power, because you know that your life deserves this. See, I think that the reason that we abuse ourselves with drugs and alcohol is that we're trying to numb something in us that's aching us, that's urging us, that's nagging us to do something bigger and better. It can't be because it tastes so good. It can't because crack feels so good, or cocaine. Is not that simple.
You are not regular. You are a talented athlete. So stay your ass in the gym, stay focused on them books, stay in your college dorms. You got the rest of your life to chase chicks and get money, man.
That when we are deluding ourselves or polluting our minds, it numbs us where we don't have to face reality, because we don't know what we've got going for us. See, once you discover who you are, the truth of knowing who you are will set you free from ever wanting alcohol, from ever wanting any kind of drug that's going to destroy who you are. Once you begin to know who you are, it will set you free from believing, I can't see myself doing any better. Once you discover this power, the perfect essence of who you are, that's in all of us, that's permeating our being, that enable us to be the directors of our lives. The possibility that we can begin to develop the mindset to bring out the best in people, to encourage them to achieve their greatness and support them in their dreams.
I'm going to learn. I'm going to do everything in my power every single day. I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim.
Wherever you are in life, ladies and gentlemen, you've got comeback power. I don't care how low you are. I don't care what you have done. I don't care what you have experienced. I don't care how devastated your life might appear to be, the shambles it might be in. There's a power in you that can enable you to be stronger.
Time properly invested is worth a fortune. Time wasted is worth devastation. But it's worth a fortune if you invest it properly. Time invested can perform miracles. So you invest your time. Now, let me tell you the rest of the list. Lydia Colon invests $1 in her enterprise, selling a product she believed in. Here was her first investment, desperation. She says, my kids are hungry, I gotta make this work. If this doesn't work, what will I do? That's called great incentive. My friend Bill Bailey went to Chicago as a teenager after he got out of high school. And the first job he got was night janitor. Someone says, Bill, why would you settle for night janitor? He said, malnutrition. Right? You work at whatever you can possibly get. When you get hungry, you go to work somewhere. Night janitor, don't matter where it is. Now he's rich and, he's financially independent. But first job, night janitor. So, what is a good investment? Desperation. I must. See, that's a powerful incentive. I must. Now here's the next investment she made. Determination. I will find someone. First she said, I must find someone. Desperation. Second, she said, I will find someone before this first day is over. Sure enough, she found someone. She said, if it works once, it'll work again. But the next person said no. The next person said no. Now what must you invest? Courage. Courage is more valuable than money. If you've only got $1 and a lot of courage, I'm telling you, you've got a good future ahead of you. Courage in spite of. Humans can do the most incredible things, no matter what happens. Tell us about it. Haven't we heard the stories? There's probably some recent ones from Kosovo that we haven't even heard yet, that are some of the most classic, unbelievable stories of being in the depths of hell and finally making it out. Now, it's humans. You can't sell humans short. Courage. In spite of. Not because of, but in spite of. Now, once she's sold 3 or 4 and gotten going, here's what now takes over. Ambition. Wow, if I can sell 3, I can sell 33. If I can sell 33, I can sell 103. Wow, now she's now dazzled by her own dreams of the future. Try this one on for size, faith. Now she begins to believe, I've got a good product, this is probably a good company. And she then starts to believe in herself. Lydia, single mother, 2 kids, no job. By gosh, I'm gonna pull it off. Her self-esteem starts to soar. These are investments that are unmatched. Money can't touch it. What if you had $1 million and no courage? You'd be poor. You wouldn't be rich. Now here's the next one. It's the reason why she's a millionaire today. Ingenuity. Putting your brains to work. Probably up until now, you've put about 1/10 of your brain power to work. What have you employed the other 9/10? You can't believe what can happen. Humans can come up with the most intriguing things to do. Ingenuity. What's ingenuity worth? A fortune. It's more valuable than money. All you need is $1 and plenty of ingenuity. Figuring out a way to make it work, make it work, make it work. Have a classic story to tell that'll stir the kids' minds for years to come. Next, heart and soul. I mean, what's a substitute for heart and soul? It ain't money. Money can't buy heart and soul. And heart and soul is more valuable than $1 million. $1 million without heart and soul, you have no life. You are ineffective. But heart and soul is like magic. It's what we call the unseen magic that moves people. Moves people to buy, moves people to make decisions, moves people to act, moves people to respond. Heart and soul? Next, personality. You've just got to spruce up and sharpen up your own personality. You've got plenty of personality. Just get it developed to where it's effective every day. It's effective no matter who you talk to, whether it's a child or whether it's a business person, whether it's a rich person, poor person. A unique personality that is at home anywhere. My mentor Bailey taught me, you got to learn to be at home, Mr. Rohn, in a little shack in Kentucky, having a beer and watching the fights with Winfred, my old friend. And be just as comfortable there as you are in a Georgian mansion in Washington, D.C. at the senator's guest. Just as comfortable, move with ease, whether it's with the rich or whether it's with the poor. And it makes no difference to you who's rich or who's poor. A chance to have a unique relationship with whoever. That kind of personality that's comfortable, that kind of personality that's not bent out of shape. Here's the ultimate investment, charisma. Ultimate sophistication, charisma. With a touch of humility. All of that list is more valuable than money. With $1 and the list I just gave you, the world is yours. I mean, it belongs to you. Whatever piece of it you desire, whatever development you wish for your life, I've given you the secret. Capital, there is some kind of capital and there is some kind of capital. But here's what you can do with $1 and the rest of this investment of yourself and your person. You can secure your fortune. Key phrase, you lack not the resources. You don't lack the mental resources. You don't lack the financial resources. Here's the key to the $1. Depends on where you invest it. Depends on where you spend it. Buy a Coca-Cola or buy a brochure about a product you believe in and go tell the story. I mean, what are you going to do with this $1? You say, well, it's only $1. No, you don't understand. If you wish, you can turn it, instead of into a Coca-Cola, you could turn it into capital. And $1 turned into capital instead of a Coca-Cola, what's the difference? The difference is a fortune. The Coca-Cola is soon gone, but the fortune lasts forever. Everybody's got the money. It depends on where you put it. How much is a book on sophistication in the marketplace? Somebody says, $25. That's too much for poor people. No. $25 is how many Pepsis? If you saved up the money of 25 Pepsis, could you buy a book on sophistication in the marketplace that can lead to fortune? The answer is yes. Everybody's got the money. Everybody's got the time. Everybody's got the imagination and the mental and the spiritual and the social resources. Everybody's got the stuff. It depends on how you use it and where you put it and where you invest it, how it turns out for you and for your life. That's the key.
The biggest myth you have, not the one that's been sold to you, that hurts you is the average person thinks finance is so complex because, frankly, the industry tries to make it sound complex. They use words that you don't know, so you don't know what to do. You know, what does this mean? And so what happens is we just give them our money and say, deal with it, and we don't realize that system has been set up. It's not an evil system. It's set up by corporations that are looking to maximize profit for those corporations. They're not looking out for the investor because this investor's second, and we think we're first, and we're not. So the first piece is you got to know that you can't wait till you have a ton of money to start investing and think, I'm not an investor. What you got to do is say, rather than my Apple phone, let me own Apple stock. Let me own a piece of all the best companies, not just Apple. I've got to become an owner or I'll always be in scarcity. If you can invest in business, even a small amount, you can grow. I don't care how small it is, but you got to automate it. There's a gentleman named Theodore Johnson who is amazing. He worked for UPS, started as a driver, never made more than $14,000 total in a year. That was his highest salary in a year. In his old age, he's worth $70 million. And how did he do it? All he did was, what I teach is the first step is you got to take a percentage of what you earn and pretend it's a tax. You're never going to see that money again. You automate it, it goes straight to the investment account, and you never see it as money you can spend. He did that with 20%. He said, I can't save 5. Somebody in his family said, if there was a tax, you'd pay it, and they made it 20%. When you save 20% and you compound it, its numbers are incredible. This is the ticket. This is what we get caught up in. We want to use the head and heart together, and then we have the power of both of them. So to do that, though, we got to give up the expectation that people are going to behave the way we want them to. Because what are the chances if your happiness is dependent upon everyone around you, your mother behaving the way you think she should, your father, your brother, your sister, your coworkers, your employees, what are the chances of everybody living the way you think they should? On a 0 to 100% scale, what are the chances? So why would we allow this to be? Because it's just a bad habit. And it's like my buddy Mike here, with his daughter. Instead of trying to control her, he decides, I'm gonna learn from her, I'm gonna love her, I'm gonna grow me. And that pulls her closer instead of pushing her further away. Instead of working on them, we're gonna work on us. If I wanna change you, the fastest way I can change you is change me, because we're in a cybernetic loop. If I respond, if dad responds totally different than she can predict, she doesn't know how to deal with that anymore, now you have the upper hand. Now your love can penetrate her instead of the story in each other's minds. When he was talking to me on that first day about her, he was in his head. How many saw that? And then he left his head and got in his heart, and that's when he penetrated her. And look at mom over here smiling from ear to ear, going, nodding her head, going, yeah, that's cool. And look at Mike's big smile on his face, because he can feel the difference. So today we want to do our best to catch ourselves in our head, to get back in our heart. And then here's the biggest thing you need. You don't want to make the assumption that says, no, I've done 3 days and I'm done. This is the beginning, not the end. Who's with me on this? Say I. Now, it doesn't have to be the beginning with me. If you want to do more with me, come to Master University. Or you can go do it with someone else, but you got to keep growing. If you don't keep growing, none of this will matter. And you can have tremendous few months or half a year or a year, but why would you settle for 6 months because you went through the program? I remember one time I had a friend years ago, really good friend of mine. He came to this seminar and he loved it. And he was on fire, and he went back and he lost 32 pounds and he changed his business, got closer to his wife. And then he ran into some challenges in one of his business, had 2 businesses, one of his businesses, and then their kid had some challenges, and he and his wife got stressed about it, and they started being stressed with each other in reaction to the environment. And so, it was like 6, 7, 8 months in, and I remember him saying, hey, Tone, I love that seminar, but dude, it didn't last. It was great for 6 months. I said, asshole. I said, who made you think you could do something for 3 days and it would even last 6 months? I said, do you think I just did 3 days and I've been this way for the last 40? No, I said 40 years ago I started a journey that has never ended. And so we need a daily practice, right? Who's up for it here? Say I. And so I want to show you how I do this for me, and I want you to create your own system based on it. So if you and I are going to get lasting results, you got to do some things regularly. The first thing, and I call this immersion coaching, the first thing that I do still myself is I schedule myself at least twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year, to go to an event of some sort where I can make myself better psychologically, emotionally, relationship, finances, something. I call it an event blast off, because most people learn a language in high school and college. Who learned a language in high school and college? Let me see your hands. How many of you don't speak a fucking word of it now? Let me see your hands. What happened? You spent years, but you did it 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. Immersion is the way to learn. When you're breathing like we're doing here all night, all day, it's not comfortable, but it's unbelievably fulfilling. How many are experiencing it right now? Say I. You got to get over your mind going, I can't do this, it's too hard and all that shit. You got to push yourself through when you feel exhausted and say, there's a second wind in me, I'm going to find it. But if you go for immersion, you will master things 10 times faster than you will doing an hour a day or once a week or something like that. I mean, think about it. This seminar is 50 hours over the course of the weekend, 4 days. It's a lot of hours. I can make this so much easier. Let's do an hour a week for a year. We'll get 2 weeks off. It'll be easy. Would we get the same result? Yes or no? No way. So I'll give you an example. My wife and I, and we have an extended family member of mine named Mary, and Mary, the 3 of us travel together. Mary's my right arm. And so I drag Mary with us too, because she's part of our family. We just recently finished A Date with Destiny, which is my most powerful seminar. It's 6 days and nights, and it's an experience of some grads of A Date with Destiny. Cool. But it's one of my favorite things to do on earth, but it's not an easy thing on my body, as you might imagine. And it's incredibly fulfilling, but at the end of it, my body is complete toast, as you can imagine. And we were in Australia, in the Gold Coast, and I scheduled already some Aussies here, huh? Nice to see you guys. And I scheduled, because my life was so full, there was only 1 week I could do this, and so I scheduled to go to this place in Sedona, Arizona, where this man for 39 years has been a neurological expert about how to wire your brain for alpha states, delta states, if you're familiar with those. But alpha is the expertise. And I want to, as great as my life is, I want to take another level. So I have more to give for my family, for my friends, for you, for myself. So we go for 7 days and nights. And this is what it was like. You got up first thing in the morning, 6:30, and you spent an hour and a half getting your brain wired with this glue shit. And they put 180 of these electrodes on your head. My wife looked so attractive, and so did I. It was amazing. And then, after wiring you up with this goop, which by the way takes forever to get out afterwards, well, there's where we don't see the goop, you see just our hair afterwards. But the bottom line is, then you go in individual rooms. Like, I want to be with my family, right? I want to be with my wife, I want to be with my family, and I got to go in this dark little room that has no light, and it's freezing cold. It must be my karma for the shit I do to you people on a regular basis, right? And sure enough, I'm there for 14 hours in this room. You get one break, sometimes two, run the restroom, and the entire time you are learning to think, and how you think, these electrodes create sounds, and you learn how to put yourself in the zone of alpha. But it's a bitch. It's horrible. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody that wants easy experiences, but I'd recommend it to anybody that wants to grow immensely. And by the first day, I'm like, who do I got to shoot to get out of this thing? Oh, it's me. I'm the one that did this shit. Right? But by the end of the week, all three of us were able to go into this state of alpha. And if you're familiar with alpha, the best way I can describe alpha is there's no problem that can't be solved in alpha. Because every problem that we have was created by us. Destruction of the environment to the pissed offness that you may have. And since we create the problems, any problem a human creates, we can solve. But you can't do it with the same level of thinking that got you there. So there's the science of it, and you can't cheat. This thing measures you. And then you take this freaking test with 300 questions 3 times a day, the same effing test. And it takes forever. And while you're answering it, these electrodes are seeing what you're doing. And then the guy sits down with you, and it's called sigmas, and he goes, well, this is 2 sigma, this is even, this is 10 sigmas. And the more sigmas is how far you are off from what you wrote, from what was really going on in your nervous system. So it's like, said something to me like that I was demanding. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not demanding. What are you talking about? Right? But I guess I was, right? And you learn then how to let go of those old patterns, create new ones. So my point is, I'm doing okay in my life. I'm not exactly hurting. I'm having the most beautiful life I could possibly have. A beautiful mission, a beautiful family, beautiful children, grandchildren, beautiful experience to live in life. And yet I'm not willing to settle for that because I'm here to deliver more for everyone I love, including myself. And so what I do is I schedule it. Because listen to me, when you talk about shit, it's a dream. When you envision it, it's exciting. When you plan it, it's possible. When you schedule it, it's real.
that storm that you're in, it seems like that storm is enveloping the whole world. Hard to see out of that storm. It's hard to see past it. It seems like the storm is everything. You can get out of the storm, and you will get out of the storm. But right now, you're being tried. You're being forged. You're being tested by fire and by pain. Don't fail the test.
Now listen to me. I don't care if you're sick. I don't care what you're going through. If you're not dead, he ain't through with you yet. As long as you're waking up, you still in the game. You can still make it happen. As long as there's breath in your nostrils, boo, you still in the game. You still can win. Now get your butt up.
You need to change your mind, because some of you are thinking about giving up because you're in a season of failure. But just because you failed doesn't mean that God doesn't have a bright future in store for you. It is always too soon to quit.
This is not the time to throw in the towel. This is not the time to give up. It's the time to trust God more, to dig in deeper.
The joy is not in the success. The joy is in trying. The joy is in the process, that I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep going at it. See, failure is forming my future. Failure is just another peg in the ladder for me to go higher. I don't want to just know how to make it work. I want to know why it doesn't work. And the only way I can find that out is I got to fall on my face. But guess what? The righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up.
And if God be for us, who can be against us? There's nothing in this world that can defeat us if God is for us. It is impossible to have victory and think bondage. It's impossible to be happy and think sadness and depression.
And if you're not careful, you will allow situations in this life to cloud your perspective. And you will allow moments in this life to take away the hopes and the dreams of tomorrow. Failure, it's not final, it's formative. It's part of the journey. How are you gonna learn if you don't ever fail? Failure is fuel for your future. Failure is a part of your story. The only time you fail is the last time you try. You need to get the right perspective on it, because this failure, it will not end in death, but this failure is a part of you being formed.
I'm telling you, it's possible to be weak. It's possible to feel overwhelmed, outnumbered, out-resourced. It's possible to feel discouraged. It's possible to be going through something that you've never gone through. And if you were to be honest, would say, I am weak this day, yet I'm still anointed king.
You have to make a decision that I will learn from this thing. I've resolved in my spirit that every experience is my education. So the good experiences and the bad experiences, I'm going to learn from that, and I'm going to discover the opportunity for me to grow and for me to get better. I'm telling you, I've already made up my mind that I know I will fall down. I know that I will stumble, but I already see myself getting back up. Therefore, I'm never down. I'm either up or getting back up. I'm going to learn.
I want to encourage somebody out there who's thinking about quitting and giving up, somebody who has been praying for years for things to turn around. You're thinking about quitting, you're thinking about getting up, you are caving in. This is for you.
When I'm discouraged, I need somebody to come alongside me to encourage me that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That kind of talk wakes up my faith. It stirs my faith to know that no matter how dark my situation, God can work it out.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Stay up. Stay focused.
And that's how you should dream. If it's in your imagination, it's possible. Do you know that you can't think of something that can't happen? You know it's impossible to think of the impossible. It's not possible. So if you think it, it's possible. And if you live your life in possibilities instead of probabilities, you have a greater chance of finding happiness.
I cannot have another year like I had. I cannot sit in this addiction for another 12 months. I refuse to live like this again. Something's got to give. I'm desperate, and I've got a hunger for God that only God can fix and God can fulfill and God can do in my family and in my home. To be slain with the sword is better than to be slain with hunger. Better to go down fighting than to sit there and die.
If you've had a dream, I guarantee you, you were born with that dream woven into your DNA. You see, dreams are deeply personal. And this is important for you to understand, because if you give up on your dream's gonna haunt you.
You know, life will do this to you. Try to label you according to your educational background, according to your ethnicity, according to whether you're a man or a woman, or according to life will try to label you this way. I want to make an announcement. You can't disappoint what God has appointed. You can't disappoint. When God gets ready to do a work in your life, when God gets ready to raise you up.
There's things in your life that are necessary, but they're unpleasant. Working out my legs is necessary, but it's unpleasant. Why is it necessary? Because it's the largest muscles in your body. See, what you learn is it's this thing called unintended consequences. You don't know what type of fight you got to face on Tuesday. You don't know what your boss is going to come and say on Friday. But thank God you've been putting in some work on the interior life that when you need to fight, you got some strength.
I'm the kind of person, if I'm going to do it, I'm all in. I'm the kind of person, I don't like being in between. I don't like to be at the back of the line. I want to be in the front of the line, and I'm going to prepare myself and work on myself to be a dominant voice.
Carefully consider how you live. So live wisely, not foolishly. Make the most of your time, because these are difficult days. You need to have a routine. Now, when you're stuck at home, it's so easy to slip into sloppiness. I want you to write this down right now. Routine develops resilience.
You got to resource yourself well, file every day, read every day. And so at 17, I started reading and filing every day, and literally have done it all my life. And one day I began to realize I was relying way too much on those files, that I wasn't as creative and I wasn't testing what I should be testing, because I had a safety net. I go over there and, well, here I got this. And I was starting to read old thoughts, and old thoughts are old thoughts.
Happiness is freedom from the negative children of fear, such as worry, low self-esteem, envy, greed, anger, resentment, and so on. Happiness is an awareness and a grasp of the positive power of life and loving values. It is an order of thought, activity, and lifestyle. Happiness is values in balance. It is contact with people of substance.
Never live your life in probability. Probability is the probability of something happening. There's a statistic attached to a probability. 1 in every 3,000 people do this. That's a probability. A possibility has no stats attached to it. Live your life in possibilities and you'll change it. Just change the way you think.
When the seed is sown into your heart, the devil comes immediately to try to steal the seed that was sown. And I think one of the ways that he does it is by very simply testing you on what you just heard. And we need to get it. Learn a new sentence. This is only a test. Can we practice? Say, this is only a test.
You can't see how the fact that they laid you off from that job was actually preparing you for something, teaching you some things, going to get you some discipline in some areas, and that later on a door would open up that God would use to move you into new dimensions. But you can't see the destiny in the face of the disappointment. Sometimes God will give you enough of the details to get you in the right area, but He won't give you enough specifics where you don't need Him to show you what to do next.
When suffering hits my life, I hope I have been putting into my interior life. But in order to use all those other muscles to face suffering, you're going to actually have to put in and focus on the body and focus on your legs and understand it's leg day. It's going to have some unintended consequences. And his big leg day workout routine for you is this little phrase, live in harmony.
For 29 years, kicking cancer's butt and still working, still in his right mind, still got the fire in his belly, still being active, still making a difference, still motivating people and inspiring people and making people feel good. If you believe that laughter is important, if you believe being deliberately positive is important, having a spirit of optimism is important in spite of.
I made a decision, a very difficult decision, all of my work for all those years of filing. I made a decision to get rid of all of it. They're not relevant, they're not new, they're not fresh, they don't breathe, there's no fire and passion in them. I'm just going to say to you, one of the good things about a crisis is it begins to help us to let go of the things that we have depended on the past so that we can go to an entire new level of living.
One woman just decided, you know what? You can't take my dignity from me. I can only give that up, and I don't choose to give it up. And I will not go back to the bus. The answer is no. And Rosa Parks changed an entire society because that day she chose to focus on something else. She gave it a different meaning. This is not a command. You do not have control over me. And she decided to fight. And she changed the direction of a country and of many other countries. She started something.
There's another dimension, which is trait conscientiousness, which is integrity and dutifulness, orderliness, industriousness, openness, which is like a hybrid between intellect, intelligence roughly, and creativity. And so you can go there and find out how you compare to other people, and that's kind of interesting and useful because it's kind of useful to know who you are and to know that that's actually who you are, you know, that you have a nature.
We forget that you don't have to be famous to have the ability to change at least your own personal history, to change the direction we go in our life. We have the power to choose, even if you haven't before. You can finally say, no more, I won't put up with that, within myself or from anybody else. And here's what I'm going to do differently. That's where the breakthroughs really start to happen. Now the question is, why do some people stand their ground and make something change versus other people just kind of accept things?
Happiness is contentment with the tasks of your life. It is thought inspired by, organized with, and rooted in your personal philosophy to become an invaluable form of currency for you to spend and invest in your own better future. Happiness is activity with purpose. It's love in practice.
Need a little pick-me-up today? Welcome to the new Fresh Motivation app, where you'll find daily motivation, daily quotes. Listen to your favorite speeches in the background or with a black screen, so nothing interrupts your motivational moment, where you can create your personal profile, create playlists of your favorite speeches and quotes, add personal notes, and start setting goals. Fresh Motivation, the home of motivation. Get it now for free on Google Play.